like that, Mike.
Yeah, I surprised you.
Listening to the Sportz Nutz.
All right, and good evening and welcome to another edition. This is episode 196 of the Sportz Nutz Show. My name is Ralph Williams. I am your guest host tonight for the Sportz Nutz Show, and we're here tonight. It's a great Monday night. It is President's Day, and I want to wish everybody a very happy President's Day. And I hope everyone had a wonderful and great Valentine's weekend. We welcome you to another amazing episode of Sportz Nutz. Happy Monday, everyone. Y'all made it. We all made it. And we have such a stacked episode tonight. We have to give special shout out to everyone listening live on 95.5 FM KFCE in Terrell, Texas, and also in Tiger Nation Live. And everyone else listening on the other stations we are on, as well as the 38 countries that we now air in. Thank you. And we have a great episode lined up for everyone tonight. Y'all. We are joined by a very good friend of ours. He is PA announcer for the Seattle University Rednecks, Mr. Nick Beckman. And afterwards, we will have so much to cover. So let's get it. Quick introductions here tonight. Nick, first off, thank you for agreeing to come on the show. And I'm going to get him up here right now. Let me see if I can find Nick's. There's Nick. Okay. Oh, wait, he was already up. Sorry.
There I am.
There he is.
Ta-da!
And we also tonight have our the new guy to the Sportz Nutz Network, Ben. Ben, welcome to the program. Thank you for being part of the Sportz Nutz Network. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Everyone else say hello to Ben, Matt, Shane, Pensman, Nick. Say hello to Ben. He's our new member of the Sportz Nutz Network.
Hey, Ben, welcome to the Sportz Nutz.
All right.
Appreciate the warm welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, Ben.
All right. Brandon's very excited to have you on tonight, Nick, but he's not here tonight because he's coaching his daughter's playoff basketball game.
I love that.
We can all say go Lady Eagles for him and his team. We joke and call him Bobby Knight Jr. So, but anyway, some bad officiating in the last game kind of got to him a little bit, and I don't blame him. So, I always say, ref, do your job. So,
My gosh. Oh,
you ought to see me on an independent wrestling match, Matt. I always
go,
man,
really?
Ref, do your job, man. Do your job.
Nah, man, Ralph, man. Thanks a lot for all that. Pensman, Shane, Ben. How's it going, fellas? Everybody doing good, man?
We're all good tonight.
We're all good, man.
Good.
Right.
I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day. Judging by all the smiles on the faces, I imagine that we did. So, and hopefully you don't have lighter wallets. Hopefully your wallets are still heavy, gentlemen. But
Hey, they said seating was up this weekend at McDonald's. That's what they said. Seating was high. So
I got that.
They said you had to wait outside. You had to wait outside to get a seat at McDonald's.
Hey, try to make McDonald's more of a restaurant type vibe now, man, like it was back when it first came out, man. So they're trying to make it back like that again, man. So
yeah, you know what was restaurant and fast food? Steak and Shake. I used to work
Steak and Shake. I remember that. Yeah, Steak and Shake.
They used to call it a restaurant style fast food place. That's what.
Well, look, with the prices of these value meals and everything, man, I'm pretty sure it's like restaurant prices anyway. So it's like, if you go to McDonald's, go to McDonald's, just spending about $40 anyway. So.
That's big.
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah, it is. It's crazy out there. Ben, tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you to Sports Nuts Network. How are you tonight? Go ahead. You're the new guy. I want everyone to get to know you tonight.
And don't forget the Krispy Kreme donuts, Ben.
Yeah, I can't have Krispy Kreme donuts. That's fine.
Yeah, big thanks.
That's the new guy.
Well, actually, it was Shane who actually kind of introduced me to this show some time ago. I guess it was probably last summer, I think is when my first show was. And, I kind of took a little break the past few months and, just been working on some school stuff. And finally I reached back out to Brandon earlier this week and I said, hey, do you still have a spot for me? I said, I'm really trying to get, grow my brand and, trying to get started in this. And I'm really passionate about sports and particularly football. I'm still mourning that we still got to wait 6 months for new football. I still think about it every day. So that's kind of what got me hooked on this show. And, I also like basketball too. I'm wearing a Cooper Flag jersey, as you can tell. So yeah.
Shane Owen, how are you tonight, Shane? I didn't forget you. So how are you tonight?
Oh man, doing good. As Matt mentioned, my wallet is a little bit lighter, but it's because of 6-year-old nephew's birthday. But other than that, got to spend time with family, doing that party and all, and watched a great race this past Sunday with the Daytona 500. One of the most exciting last laps that I've ever seen at Daytona. So, man, it's pretty good. Cooked a big dinner. Went to bed early and back at it for the start of the work week and ready to get on. Thanks for having Nick on the show with us, man.
Hey Nick.
I'm getting ready. We're ready to get into it with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Nick, welcome to the program. How are you tonight, Nick? Tell everybody about yourself and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. The one, Shane, I love that background. I need to get a copy of that. So
thanks. I appreciate it.
And then too, Ralph, you made me laugh in the open. They're the Seattle Redhawks, not the Rednecks.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man, I was hoping you didn't catch that, Nick. I was hoping you didn't catch that.
Oh, he did. He did.
Arkansas, but the Redhawks from Seattle U are a great basketball team. I've been their public address announcer for 15 seasons now. I do both men's and women's basketball. I also do the play-by-play for the brand new the USBL, the United States Basketball League, is just starting up again this year. So they're starting with an 8-team format on the West Coast, and the team that used to play in the TBL, the Basketball League, for the last 3 seasons, I've been their play-by-play announcer, the Seattle Superhawks, and now they've got 8 teams on the West Coast. They've purchased the USBL, so they're going to bring that back next year, bringing in corporate sponsorship. So they're looking to grow from 8 teams to up to 25 to 27 teams next year across the country. Wow. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Love doing play-by-play. I just this time of year for me, basketball is my passion. I unfortunately for a lot of people, or like a lot of people, I had dreams of playing college basketball, end up having a couple of successive injuries that put that dream to rest. And now at 62 years old, I realize I peaked as a junior in high school as an athlete. So, yeah. So I have an affinity for the high school game just because the opportunity that it gives kids to build skills for life and really make memories for a lifetime. And that's what's so special. I got to be the play-by-play for the Metro League Championships this year. I also do PA for a high school up here called Rainier Beach High School. And you might be familiar with Rainier Beach. Jamal Crawford went there. Nate Robinson went there. Doug Christie went there. Doug Rem went there. They have upwards of, I think we're close to 40 NBA players that have played and high school basketball at Rainier Beach. And when they have, I did their teams. DeJounte Murray was there back in 2013 and 14. I was their public address announcer from 2012 to 16. And then last year, Nate Robinson's son was a senior. Jalen Petty's playing for Texas Tech now. He was a senior on that team. And Caden Powers, who's at Rutgers, was a senior on that team, and they won the 3A state championship. So got to do that season with Rainier Beach. And what was fun is that was the last year of I think the gym was just about over 40 years old. And that was the Jamal Crawford court. Jamal had his name on that court, and it was in the old gym. So we played the last games there, and then they opened up a brand new, just a gem in the South Seattle area that it's the Mike Bethea Athletic Complex. He's in his 32nd year of head coaching at Rainier Beach. They named the whole athletic complex after him with a brand new Jamal Crawford court inside. And Jamal is an assistant coach on that team. And we had this year Tyron Stokes come and play with us. He moved up, kid from Louisville, who went to California and then found his home at Rainier Beach this year. And Tyron is the real deal. I mean, you might see highlights, you might see clips, and those kind of things you can take them for what they are. I tell people all the time, you got to get to gyms. I mean, especially for the game of basketball, you got to get to the gyms and watch these kids play, because you just don't get all the nuances and all the stuff that goes on with basketball from highlights and clips. You can make judgments, you can get perceptions about how kids are, but I think you get more misperceptions than you really get a feel for who these kids are. And Tyron's a real deal. 6'8", 230, and literally his basketball IQ is so off the charts that I'm excited for him to see him play 1 year in college, because he'll be a Cooper Flag kind of player. I got to see Cooper play last year. Seattle U played at Cameron Indoor. And I told my wife in July last year, I won't be home for Thanksgiving. And she said, what are you talking about Thanksgiving in July for? And I said, well, Seattle U they play Furman in Las Vegas on Tuesday night, right after Kansas and Duke play. And then Furman and Kansas go play on Friday, and Seattle U goes to Cameron Indoor to play on the Friday after Thanksgiving. I said, I'm going to go do that the week of Thanksgiving. And I said, I'd love to have you come. And so we went. And it was amazing. I was 3 rows up watching Cooper play, and just to have that experience, it was one of those things that it's funny when you get this world today, everything's about video, shooting video, doing all this stuff. But I walked in with my phone up, and I'm going, this is Cameron Indoor. It's amazing. Look at the banners. And I stopped, turned it off, put my phone in my pocket, and just absorbed the experience. And I was just there. I was in Cameron. Yeah, the students weren't there, but it didn't matter. It was a sold-out, packed house, and I got to sit 3 rows from the floor. I got to meet Trip Durham, the PA announcer. It was just such a fantastic experience, but you can't get that off a screen. You can't get that off your laptop or your phone or your TV. You have to go do these things. You have to go to these gyms, and that's what sports allows people to do, is get out and do that. I mean, my brother got to go down to the Super Bowl last weekend, and holy smokes, he can't get the smile off his face. He's had
Nick, with all the realignment that's taken place as of late, and reports that Seattle has had discussions with the Pac-12 2.0, what would that mean for Seattle if they do leave the West Coast Conference for the Pac-12 2.0?
I heard a rumor about that, but I would be really surprised if that happened, because we just left the Western Athletic Conference after 8 years. We transitioned from NAIA to back to D1, and we had 3 years of independent that we had to play, where we were playing lots of different teams. And then because Mark Few and Gonzaga didn't want Seattle U to compete with them for athletes, which I don't know how he thought that was happening, but Seattle U is back where they belong, originally from the West Coast Conference. And so now this is our first season in the West Coast Conference. Gonzaga's going to the Pac-12. WSU and Oregon State are going. This was just they were in a 2-year transition looking for a place to play until the Pac-12 have. But they've got 10 teams, I think, that are all between San Diego State, Idaho State, whatever. They're all state teams, Washington State, Oregon State, except for Gonzaga. And Gonzaga is the only team that doesn't have a football team. Seattle U doesn't have a football team either. So I could see maybe how that would work. If it went, it would be fun. Seattle U beat the University of Washington this year. They beat WSU this year. So Washington State, they just beat Oregon State last night. As a matter of fact, we beat them 60-50, had them up 36-18 at halftime, and then just kind of took their foot off the gas and gave them a little bit of breath. But it was nice that we got a big win over Oregon State after they're coming off a 90-63 win over San Francisco. So Seattle U in the West Coast Conference is kind of finding their way, and it would be surprising to me if they actually were only there for 1 year and go to the Pac-12. If they went, I think they'd be very competitive. Coach Chris Victor has done an outstanding job at Seattle U in his 4 seasons. He had 3 seasons in a row. His first 3 seasons were 20-plus win seasons, and that's the first time that's happened since the late 50s when Elgin Baylor played at Seattle U. So they've got some history, but it's nice to be in the West Coast Conference. And for me, whoever's on the floor Wednesday night, I'll be at Climate Pledge Arena, and I get to call Seattle U and St. Mary's, and there'll be 6,000 or 7,000 people in the stands for that game. The home court that we play on at Red Hawk Center on campus holds 999,000 people, is all the footprint will allow them to have because of the additions of once you start raising your attendance level or the capacity, you need to have more egress, more restrooms, all of those kind of things. And they're right downtown. They're up on the hill in Seattle. So they don't have the space to make it any bigger unless they were to move to another block where they could just rebuild a brand new building. That obviously no ground's been broke. So that's down the road too. But I could see that happening. But Seattle U is in a really good space right now, and we'll see how the West Coast Conference tournament comes up that first week of March and see how they fare in there. I mean, Gonzaga, they took Gonzaga to overtime. If Seattle U would have made 2 free throws, I traveled over to watch a game in the Kennel this year just because I figured that was the last time. But, watching Seattle U play in Gonzaga and miss 2 free throws they could have been up by 4 with 30 seconds to go. And instead, they're only up by 2 and weren't able to finish the game out. And you can't give a top 10 team in the country an extra 5 minutes on their home court. And that was, that was that. But for me, that was a win. They went into that game at a minus. Well, Gonzaga was minus 23. So if you bet the points, Seattle U was an easy winner in that game. It ended up being an 8-point game, but it was such a fun time to be there and see Seattle U battle and compete. And so they beat some Pac-12 teams, and Gonzaga is the only team in Washington that they didn't beat this year. So it's a lot of fun to be where we're at and where we're going to go from here. It's an old cliche. I take it one game at a time, and I've been there 15 years, never had a contract. So I'm always, I don't take it for granted what I get to do. So it's such a pleasure to be on the mic for Seattle U. And anytime I get to do PA for high school or college or semi-pro basketball, being on the mic's my happy place. So thank you guys for letting me be here. And obviously I don't like talking. Nick. Somebody else should say something.
Yeah, Shane. Shane has a question for you. Go ahead, Shane.
Oh, yeah. Well, Nick, thanks again for coming on with us tonight and sharing a little bit of the Seattle U with us. In researching, I looked up, and as you mentioned, big wins against UW and Oregon State, yesterday, but also taking down Stanford this year as well.
Yeah, Stanford at Maples, yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. But as you mentioned, the Red Hawks have 2 different kind of home floors, I guess you would say.
Absolutely.
But are 12-3 at home this year. The game day atmosphere and everything must be exciting around there. Can you kind of tell us how it is, and then what are kind of the differences other than, of course, the seating capacity between their Red Hawk Center and the Climate Pledge Arena?
Well, I love one thing I love about basketball is the intimacy. I love and from college to all the way down to high school, the gyms, our gym is tight. It's got a horseshoe, so there's only seating on 3 sides. one end zone is just a wall, or one baseline is a wall. And so it's I sit at the scores table, obviously, with the benches on both sides and looking across at the fans. And, and it's nice. It gets loud in there for big games. It really gets loud. And last night was nice because it was a Sunday night at 5:00 start. And Seattle U, being that private Jesuit college, we don't have the fan interactivity that I would love to see. And I don't know what it is. It may be just the campus is laid out downtown, those kind of things. But last night we had a great student section, and they fill out the whole baseline, and we call it the red zone. The pep band's there, and it's a great atmosphere when you can fill it up with 1,000 people, and everybody is basically your fans. The section right behind the visiting team usually is filled up with visiting parents and people that are local, because we do get a lot of players from Seattle that do play at a lot of these other schools that in the West Coast Conference. So it's fun to see kids, and especially for me, because I've been doing high school basketball for over 25 years. So many of these kids I got to call in high school, and to see them mature and their games is just awesome. But then there's Climate Pledge, and Climate Pledge Arena, if you haven't been, it's a spectacular arena. It was built for the Seattle Kraken with the caveat that the NBA is coming. I mean, I work production TV, so I do a lot of broadcast TV from the backside of things, and so I'm down around the tunnels and around where fans aren't at, and there's a whole locker room that already has. When they first built it, it has a plaque that says NBA locker room. So they still haven't given us a team. It hasn't come back, and come on, NBA, bring back my Sonics.
I bet you guys miss them, huh?
Dude, I have a coat that I wear every game. I have a pair of Gary Payton gloves that I bought in 1998 that I wear every time I go courtside. And I have a Sonics leather jacket that I bought it in 1986. And in 2008, when they left, I took it to the dry cleaners and I hung it up because it actually hurt my heart to put it on because my team was gone. And it hung for about 6 or 7 years until I was courtside one night and I had somebody say, man, dude, it's so sad. There's going to be a generation of kids who've never seen the Sonics play. And I thought to myself, you know what? Not on my watch. I'm putting my coat on. So every game from high school, anytime if I'm the stage manager for the WNBA Storm game, I'm wearing my Sonics jacket and it hangs on the back of my chair. And it's one of those things that it's a travesty what happened, and there's no sense getting into it. You see over my shoulder here, Larry Bird is one of my favorite NBA players, but actually he's absolutely my favorite NBA player. But the Sonics have my heart. I've Nate McMillan and Gus Williams was one of we became good friends. Rest in peace, Gus. It's sad that he passed away, but Slick Watts just passed away. It just there's so much community here, and the Sonics are so much a part of it. And Seattle, as much as the Seahawks won the Super Bowl and the Mariners were in the ALCS and the Kraken, the hockey is here in Seattle now, it's a basketball town. The NBA, it just and don't even get me started. Watch Sonic Gate. It was so bad because I was part of the media that was there during all that. I used to stage manage the visit teams when the Sonics would come in, and the NBA has a little sheet for the visit team broadcast to fill out a request for a home team player to be interviewed at postgame. Well, when Clay Bennett bought the team, he still had to put that sheet out, but he had a little asterisk on it that says, please be advised that Sonics do not allow Sonic players to talk to the visiting team. And I was just like, that is just so. And I have friends that were on the radio station, the sports radio, and they said, yeah, Clay won't let but one guy talk once a week. And it can't be the same guy 2 weeks in a row. So he did everything he could to drive a wedge between the community and the team. And it still breaks my heart to this day that Kevin Durant hasn't found a home. That Kevin Durant, who we drafted as a Hall of Fame rookie, alongside Jeff Green. I got Jeff Green's last pair of shoes sitting next to me from game 41 that he signed for me because everybody's all Kevin Durant, Kevin Durant. And I'm like, I love Jeff Green's game. He was number 5 in that draft. And and the fact that they're still playing, but Kevin just never found a home where he had one in Seattle. He could have played his whole career in Seattle. He could have been a Steph Curry kind of guy if Seattle had a team the whole time Kevin was here. But we couldn't invest emotionally into somebody we knew was leaving. And it just, I mean, right now, it just, I hear about what Kevin's going through and what he does. And it's just like, oh, if he'd have had his roots in Seattle and he'd have been here this whole time, he'd have a statue here. It'd be up with Lenny Wilkins because he's that kind of a talent. He's a Hall of Famer. And the fact that he's had to try to find his way and find his place because he got uprooted out of Seattle just for the greed of some owners. I can't believe that Clay Bennett just couldn't keep George Sinn's team in Oklahoma City. They were already playing there. They didn't want to go back to New Orleans. Shin didn't want them. The Grizzlies, the Bobcats, the city of Charlotte wanted to get rid of the Bobcats. The Grizzlies didn't want to be in Memphis, but yet you're going to take Seattle's team that had been there 40 years.
We feel your pain. We feel your pain. We feel your pain. Trust me.
Until I'm not passionate about much. So, you know.
We definitely feel your pain.
That's a soapbox, and I appreciate you guys letting me vent a little bit. But
there you
those
go.
Are just some things
hey, no problem at all there, Nick.
From a born and raised, I'm born here. I'm born and raised. I'm 63 years. I went 2 hours east of the mountain to go to college at Central Washington for 4 years. And then I came back here and I traveled around for 25 plus years for ESPN, HBO, Showtime, doing all kinds of stuff for them. But Seattle's my home and I love being here, and I will always, I mean, I'm a homer. I mean, I will always root for my home teams as much as I love basketball. I can't watch the NBA because I've tried to go down and watch Nate when he was coaching down in Portland. I can't be a Blazers fan. I go down and do some tournaments for Nike in the summertime, and I'll be down there in the middle of April to do the Northwest Shootout. The best high school players of Oregon and Washington match up against each other, and I get to call some great basketball down there, see some great players. But, you know, that's the thing is it's still Portland. It's not my town. It's not Seattle. And so that is just, I mean, and that's another thing. That's what sports does for you. It allows you to have rivalries. I still love the city of Portland. It's just not my town. You know what I mean? And there's a lot I love not paying sales tax down there.
Oh, there you go. Hey, that's great. All right, Pensman, you have a question for Nick. Go ahead, Pensman.
Can you just explain how it is on game day?
Game day, I love game day. It's my favorite day of the week. I mean, game day for me, I always make sure that I've looked at rosters, that I know the names, especially from it's two different things doing play-by-play versus public address. The public address, I have over 4,000 live events. So it's my comfort zone. Somebody hands me a mic and says, hey, can you call this? I don't care what the sport is. I can do it. Because at that opportunity, for me, game day is about sharing my joy. I first and foremost walk into every game day with an attitude of respect. Respect the game, respect the players, respect the coaches, respect the officials, respect the game day crew who has gone to so much work to put the table together, to set the chairs all up, to make sure the lights are on, to respect the security people that have unlocked the doors and the custodial people who make sure all the towels and everything's where it needs to be. All those people have worked hard to get to game day and make game day a work for the fans that are coming in. And for me, I just feel it's such a blessing for me to be able to share my joy doing something I love to do. And I have a seat saved at courtside. You know, I show up 2 hours early for a basketball game because I love sitting there. I handwrite my rosters because I keep my own stats during the game. I keep points and fouls for every player on both sides so that I can stay in the game, stay in the flow, because for me, basketball is all about the flow. And it doesn't feel right for me to be announcing somebody's basket while the ball's in the front court on somebody else's offense. I like to announce the basket being made as the ball's coming out of the net. So that, so I'm just in the flow that people can see. There's no sense telling you that it was number 3 that made a 3-point shot. Everybody can see that. But if you know that it's Joe Murphy for 3, now all of a sudden I'm able to share my love and my joy of the game in just a quick, concise way. And so game day, like I say, is an opportunity for me to share my joy. And I really distilled it down to, I don't need to say a whole lot. I literally say names, and I only throw a point on there when it's beyond the arc. And everything else is Joe Murphy. I mean, I say Joe Murphy because last night he got 15,000 career points for Seattle U against Oregon State. He needed 2 buckets, got his second one. It was all I could do not to say because I had to wait for the timeout so I could do the read about his 15. But it was so cool because those milestones are big for that athlete, for that player. And for me to be able to share my joy, and he's going to hear that highlight, Joe Murphy. And that's that's his 1,500th point that night. So that little clip, that little highlight, he's going to save that. And for me to be able to just be a tiny part of that experience for these athletes, it's amazing. I say all the time that God gives everybody unique gifts. And I feel so blessed that my gift is my voice and my opportunity to speak, and that it's my job just to share my love, to share my joy, and to get that out there in a way that people can feel it. It's the analogy I use is people are coming for the stew. They love the stew. It's a great stew. We're coming for the stew, and they keep coming back for the stew. I like people to come for the stew and then leave that night saying, man, the stew tasted better. There's a little more love. There's a little more spice in the stew tonight. I like how that stew tasted tonight. And I don't want them to think about me during the game. I don't want them to think about me while they're eating the stew. I want them to think about it when they're leaving with that afterglow of, man, that was good. I like that. And that's where I feel like I fit in, because game day is such a big production and so much off-court practice and work has gone in to everybody getting there. I mean, from people preparing my scripts days in advance, all of that stuff makes for a good game day. And my job is to help polish off the rough edges and any dysfunction going on with the game day staff. I can help make it so that people can enjoy the stew.
Okay, let's move on. Matt, go ahead with your question.
Yeah. So, Nick, when Seattle does get the Sonics back, and that will happen, as we know, them in Vegas are more than likely, they're more than likely going to be the next 2 expansion teams. So when that does happen, where do you see yourself, or what do you see yourself doing for that actual franchise and for that team? Or I guess what I'm saying is, go ahead and submit your pitch to what you can bring to that organization.
Oh, I know that whatever I'm dreaming is too small. So I dream huge. I dream big. I mean, I want to be the public address announcer for them. I mean, would I love to be the play-by-play guy? Yeah, but realistically, Kevin Calabro still lives in Kirkland, and he's doing the Portland Trail Blazers. And Kevin Calabro, I know Kevin really well. And I grew up on listening to guys like that. And I worked with Kevin and Marcus, and they're amazing people. And Kevin does such a fantastic job that I can't imagine that he's not going to be the play-by-play guy. The public address announcer, that's so subjective. And you guys may know that it's all about networking. It's all about positioning. It's all about timing. When they were looking for an announcer in 2003, I'd been like 2 years, little over 2 years of high school basketball. I was so excited. I was second in line to do it. And I submitted my demo tape. They had conservative estimates. They had at least 500 submissions. I heard they had upwards of 2,500 submissions, is why it took them so long to distill it down to the 50. Well, I was one of the top 50, and I was like, this is amazing. I'm a high school guy. So I with just barely any experience. So I was right there at the front of the line. I mean, I was number 2 in line, and that's not a good strategy when they got to listen to 50 people and then 48 guys behind you get to listen to you too. Because as I did my stuff, which, I mean, let me tell you, being able to do a sonic introduction with the music and all that stuff in the arena, I smiled for 3 days after that, even though I made it to the cut of 15, and it was between me and one other guy, Pat Walker, who I still work with. He does the CLU games, 3 Point Productions, a great production crew, by the way. They do our CLU games at Climate Pledge, so I still get to work with them. And Pat says, I remember when I told you that it was between you and one other guy for that number 5 spot, and we went with the other guy. And I said, well, truthfully, I was such a dark horse for that opportunity that just the experience still makes me smile thinking about it. Now I know that it's about networking. It's about being in with the right people. It's because even like with the Kraken, they did open auditions, but Chet Buchanan had the job already when they were doing the open auditions. I had talked to Chet afterwards. They hired Josh Hunter from North Colorado to come in and do 3 months because Chet was busy until January. So he couldn't do the first 3 months of the first season of the Kraken. And I was like, wow, how'd they get this Colorado guy? He wasn't in any of the auditions. And so it's all about having the right people and the right, just having the right brand out there for people to understand. So like I say, that being said, I will be soliciting myself at the first opportunity to the people. I've met Todd Lewicki a couple times. I don't know who the ownership group is for Seattle, but there will be people that I will be in contact with that run in the right circles that hopefully I can get my name in there and I can at least be in consideration. The rest is in God's hands, and I know he puts me where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. So I'm thankful for being right here, right now with you guys. But boy, if you're going to dream big, I've auditioned for the Huskies job twice because I want to be both CLU and the Huskies announcers. Yeah. And it hasn't worked out, but you know what? Until I'm not going to root for the Huskies until they want me to be their announcer. In the meantime, I'll just keep being happy that CLU is beating them.
Okay. All right, Nick, the college basketball season as a whole has been extra special this year. We at one point had multiple undefeated teams. Now we have one that's Miami of Ohio that's sitting at 25-0 right now. What are your thoughts on how successful the 25-26 college basketball season has been? And now that we have just 1 month left of the regular season, what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, I love, as we get, like I say, I love this time of year because you can start watching those teams that have risen to the top as their league play and the tests that they've had to face kind of pan out. The non-league stuff at the beginning of the season, it's nice because teams like Gonzaga will match up against some tough competition. A lot of other teams like to get those early wins and get that momentum rolling that way. This time of the year, there's no hiding. You got to come play. I watched, it was Texas Tech and Arizona. With Arizona last night, or 2 nights ago, whatever it was. But they were right there. And Arizona coming off a loss, almost lost again. And, and you get tripped up, you get a little bit. And it's one of those things that this time of year and this college basketball season in particular has got so much going for it. It's one of the reasons why I quit doing brackets, because I love watching the games. I hate when I have a bracket that's blown up because I just watch a fantastic basketball game and there's no way anybody was going to pick the upset, but it happens. And then I'm not happy because that just blew my bracket up. And my bracket is some arbitrary thing that I might have thrown 20 or 50 bucks into a pot here or there. And it's like, so a few years ago, I quit doing that because I just love to watch as many games and as much as I can and tune in to all the great action that's going on. And seeing this Miami team, I haven't had a good chance to watch them play a full game because I've just been crazy busy between the Rainier Beach and CLU men's and women that I don't get a lot of time to sit down and watch games. But as we get through this high school season, I've got 4 days of state tournament coming up after I get back from a cruise. I'm leaving on a cruise here next Saturday, so that'll be fun. But catch my breath, and then high school, the state tournament, 3A, 4A. Hopefully the Rainier Beach team will be able to get back-to-back 3As. And because I do it as community service for them, they've asked me if I wanted a ring this year. And this will be my 5th championship season I've called for them. And with the number 1 senior in the country, I said, you know what? You guys get the 3A state championship back-to-back. I'd like a ring. So it'll be my
right.
first championship ring.
All right. Okay, we got Shane with another question, and then we're going to welcome Brandon into the fray here. Brandon, welcome in board. Or how'd everything go with your game tonight?
I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm kind of bummed about it, but Nick, man, I had to come on and chime in to you. Don't mind, I have no voice. Yeah,
you got coach voice.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah,
Very
especially
much so.
those officials.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You know, and that's the thing. I mean, I try to, as a public address announcer, my job is basically just to tell people why the whistle was blown. And there's a lot of
it is still hard not to be biased too when you do that.
Oh, well,
yeah, exactly.
You didn't hear me talk. I'm always trying to be respectful, but for my home team, it's all about the love. I tell the visiting team, you know, I'll be respectful, but you get zero love. But the officials, I try to take, how's the best way to say it? I try to take the disdain and the disappointment of the call out of my voice when I'm announcing what they just called, because my perspective isn't always where they're at, and I don't see the game the way they do. I wore a whistle for like 2 weeks in one summer league and decided that as much as I love the game, that wasn't a way for me to enjoy it. So I really respect the guys who are willing to run up and down the floor. And then with that perspective, you have to understand that when you're getting D1 announcers, I have a lot of friends who at one time were NBA officials. And that's where I really gained a whole lot of respect for guys, because they spend so much time off the court. They spend more time doing the game review than they do doing the game. They have to do a report on every single whistle on all three positions in the NBA. They go back to the hotel room and they go 3 hours of going through every call. And it's amazing to watch these guys and to get that kind of experience and sit with them and hear them talk and why they made a call, because basketball is a subjective game. The rules are there and their guidelines, but not everything that is a foul is a foul. It depends on
boy, is that ever true?
on the subjective nature of it from a coach's standpoint versus the home guy and the visit guy and the offensive team and the defensive team. They're all valid perspectives. But the biggest thing that I try to remind people, especially coaches that I know that are young and just trying to get their feet wet, is you have to understand the level you're coaching at. There's a reason why these referees are reffing at that level.
Yep.
So if it's
100%,
junior high, if it's girls, if it's JV versus varsity, there's a reason why this guy's a JV ref and not a varsity ref. So to spend a lot of time being angry at a ref is really counterproductive, because you could actually spend that time teaching your kids how to play within that referee's window of how they're calling the game. And once you get in a handle, that's all I always ask referees, just be consistent. Just be consistent.
If you only knew what had really transpired in this game. I lost my voice. Nick, I got to let you go because we are pressed on time.
Oh,
I want to have you on again.
All night.
I want to have you on again. I'm definitely going to have you on again. If you're down for it, I'd like to have you on after Selection Sunday. Are you down for that?
Sure, that'd be fun.
Awesome. Let everybody know real quick where they can find you, please.
You can find me on Facebook at Nick Beckman. That's nice without the E, just NIC. I'm Nick Inc. Speaks on Instagram. And actually, if I turn my phone or this camera around, I've got here. Let's do this real quick, because I do. Hey, whoa! Turn the lights on this. Take a look at this right here. That's my hot corner.
Holy moly!
Bottles.
Wow!
Literally.
There you go.
I do I got 15 bottles of hot sauce that I need to review. So
the hot ones.
Brandon, I think we got a road trip to go to.
I know, right? I'm going to head. My sister lives over there. I can go to my sister's house.
Hot corner review on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What else is out there? I've got hot corner view on it all. So I've actually had to tell small batch makers to quit sending me bottles because I got too many I got to do right now. So that's what it's all about. Basketball kind of took over my life this last 6 weeks, and I just had to shut down the hot sauce stuff because production values are what they are. And like I say, now I turn my lights around And so I like to be able to be seen, because if anybody ever watched a Mariners baseball game for, I don't know, well, but not the last 3 years, but previous to that for 15 years, I was the camera operator for the Ford Sports Desk. So Angie Manting for the Mariners, when she was on, that was my job, was to set the lights up and make sure she looked good, no shadows on her face. So I try to make sure that people can see me. So this is my crowded studio, but it was a 3-car garage that I turned into a 2-car garage, and now I've got a recording studio and a couple different backdrops for me to talk to people on. So thanks for having me. I really appreciate the time, and we will absolutely get together. You send me the link, and we'll find the time that works for you guys. And like I say, I don't like talking too much, but I can usually find something to say.
Nick, you take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, brother.
Thank you, fellas. I really appreciate you having me. Have a great night.
Nick, have a great one. Thanks for being on the show. Thank you.
Go Red Hawks.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I'll send this to you too, by the way.
All right.
Beautiful.
Oh man, guys, that was so cool to have him on. Like, Nick, that's awesome. First off, I want to say thank you to Ralph, to Matt, to Shane, to our newest guy, Ben, of course, my guy, Pinsman. I had John just ask me real quick how the game went. We did lose, unfortunately. We are very consistent with that. Stella, no, we are very consistent. We lost 19-15 last game, and then we lost 24-20 this game. But Matt, you're going to be so proud of me. You know why? Just take a gander. Why, Matt? Listen to my voice.
You didn't get thrown out the game.
No, but I got a technical foul.
I mean, that's
gets even better. You know what? So here's what. So one of the girls grabbed my player and pulled her to the ground. I said, "You've got to call that. That is an absolute foul." And he goes, "It's a 2-man crew." And I said, "Well, if I can see it, you can see it." He's like, "This is your warning." And I go, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take me?" He's like, "You want tech?" I'm like, "I'm not scared of it. It's not gonna be my first rodeo. It ain't gonna be my last one." And he goes, "All right, beat and tech them." I'm like, "Ooh!" I literally went, "Ooh!" I'm scared. And then he told me to sit down. And I said, "Actually, Tri-County rules say I can coach my players." And he's like, "We need to be quiet." And I go, "Nope, I don't." I wasn't quiet the entire game. I was there.
Just being hostile. For no reason.
Don't tell me how to coach. So, oh man, but yeah, we lost. But shout out to Addison, y'all. She had 7 points. She had 3 rebounds and she had 4 steals. My girl did a good job. Just like I said, we just came up just short, but it was really, really proud of them. So, all right. Nick just said, "Thank you for letting me on." I was really appreciative. We have some breaking news. We were going to talk about one thing. We got some breaking news. I was going to play. We have some breaking news coming in. Boise State and Idaho have renewed their rivalry. Yes, it's going to take place in 2031. However, it will return. What is so significant about this? Well, if you don't know this, Idaho many years ago took back going to the FCS, and because they were not amounting to their money, they weren't bringing the front. Well, they're making the jump back to the FBS. It'll either be the Mountain West Conference or the Pac-12 2.0 is where they're going to go. To one of the two, they're going to go. They're making that decision. It should be known at any time. Now, like I said, the details haven't been announced just yet, but it is widely suspected, though, that they are going to join the Pac-12. And now that we're seeing both the Pac-12 and the Mountain West Conference stack it up, go to you, Shane. And in your eyes, which conference is setting themselves up for ultimate success? Obviously, we know that there are a lot of other schools: South Dakota State, Montana State. Now Sacramento State just joined the MAC. And then Tarleton State, UC Irvine, they're going to be going to the Mountain West Conference. Toledo has stated they want to play for the Mountain West Conference. All this could happen by 2032, according to 24/7 Sports and Yahoo Sports. So which one do you think, which conference is setting themselves up for success, Shane? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I think what we're going to see here is we're going to see about 3 conferences in 4 geographic regions. Once we're getting into the stage, we're going to see 3 of these smaller conferences just become mega conferences in 4 different regions. So say you're going to get the Sun Belt, the American, and Conference USA together. Then you're going to have the MAC and a couple others get together. Then you'll have the Mountain West and Pac-12 get together. And then eventually you're going to see it graduate into the the Power Four conferences. You're going to see the SEC and possibly the Big Ten join, and then the ACC and the Big 12 join together and make these super conferences. And with all the talk of realignment, everybody coming back in to the upper ranks and stuff, I think that's logically where we have to go with this to keep some sort of consistency and to keep the members from falling in and out like we're eventually going to see, because everybody wants to come up and play with the big boys, but it takes sustainability to stay up there. You can't come up for a couple of years and then, oh no, we're losing money like Rutgers is right now, being in the Power Four
Florida State's even on that list too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we see major programs losing money because they're in bigger conferences, and it's unsustainable for them to keep trying to play with these conference foes and not be successful with the money not coming in. So I think we could see that, but like I said, I think it's going to be more. These conferences are going to gear up more geographically. So I definitely see like Idaho, definitely that Mountain West, Pac-12 kind of range. And so I think that some of the schools are realizing that and going after these conferences instead of casting a wide net like we saw in the past.
Oh yeah, and this is an alarming stat, and then I'll go to the next one. Matt is gonna. I know he saw this too. Raise your hand if you know exactly how long the distance is going to be from Sacramento to UMass next season. Just for bleeps and giggles, raise your hand if you know the distance. I know the distance. Matt, do you know the distance
from Sacramento to UMass?
Yes, because they play each other next year.
Too far. That's the difference.
Well, that's a good answer.
Say about 2,800 miles one way.
I was going to say
25-19. 25-19.
I was going to say 3,000, Brandon. I was ready to say 3,000.
Sacramento.
Yeah,
the University of Massachusetts. They're playing the first. I think they're the third game next year, actually, between each other. I'm like, wow, that's a horrible distance. But here's another crazy distance. Hawaii has to go from Honolulu all the way to Denton and play Northern Illinois. That's a 6,000-mile flight. So you're traveling 6,000 miles from Hawaii to Northern Illinois. It's absolutely insane. So, but definitely shout out to all the schools. Shout out to Pac-12. Shout out to Mountain West Conference. Everybody's moving around. It's really good that we're starting to see people get formidable opponents. I know for a fact we're not done seeing the Mountain West Conference expand. They've already said how many additional they want to have as full-time and as football only. And the Mountain West Conference, they're kind of like our work is good as gold kind of thing right now. So shout out to both. All right, so there was a really horrible accident that has happened, and this absolutely, it breaks your heart. What happened last Wednesday afternoon for the Iowa Lakes College Lakers, the baseball team. One player, unfortunately, he did pass away, and 32 others were hurt. Now, we have seen some really bad accidents involving sports in our life. Ralph has seen more, unfortunately. I'm not calling you on your age there, Ralph, but I know you've seen more. I've seen a pretty good one too. So it got me thinking, what is one of the most memorable wrecks you saw? It could be a bus, could be a car, plane, whatever, that you have seen for a sporting team in your lifetime. I'm going to go, my first one that I saw, I remember vividly, was when Oklahoma State got into the plane crash. Remember, Matt, do you remember that?
Yeah, that was
their basketball. They had a couple of their players on there that passed away. They were projected in the top 15 in the draft, and unfortunately, they lost their lives. The head coach did too. So the first person I'm gonna go to is Ben, because Ben is our newest guy. Ben, what is the most memorable accident involving a sports team that you remember happening?
Well, I mean, I hate to bring it up because it's like, everybody's going to be like, well, of course, that's the most obvious one. But I mean, we are Marshall, right? It's got to be, it's got to be the first name that comes to mind. The movie still, I don't cry much, but man, that movie, We Are Marshall, like, I still cry when I watch that movie, dude. I ain't going to lie.
Oh, yeah. It's heartbreaking.
It is.
It breaks your heart on that one. What about you, Shane? what is the most memorable one that you remember the most?
The one I remember the most, of course, it's, our prayers, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Lakers and all the family members and everybody affected by this horrible crash that happened last week. But mine was also a baseball bus crash. Bluffton University was traveling there on I-75 in Atlanta, and took an exit ramp that was off to the left and thought it was still the southbound lane, and was going at highway speeds and went to an overpass, hit a concrete barrier, and all 7 out of the 36 passengers on that bus tragically lost their life, including one player that was on the bus. So that's kind of the most memorable one that I can remember. It was what I want to say like March or April in 2007.
Yeah, it was a long time. I
when it
remember. Boy, I
happened.
remember it yesterday.
Yeah, that's kind of the most memorable one that I've had happen kind of during my lifetime. That wasn't necessarily a plane crash or anything like that.
And just so you guys also know, Matt has seen this too. If you go by that freeway if you go down 75 and you come to that exit, they have flashing signs from the time you get ready to get on the exit ramp all the way. They even have it on the ramp. They have blinkers, everything imaginable. They even have a net now there to help kind of guide you, let you know, hey, that this is not a continuation. The ramp ends. What about you, Matt?
Well, Georgia DOT got in trouble for that one for not having improper signing and lighting and stuff. So they had to put that there.
Exactly. What about you, Matt? Which ones do you remember the most?
Well, besides any of the ones that were just previously mentioned, one I do remember. A friend of mine, he wanted to play basketball for the University of Evansville, and I remember doing research on Evansville, and they had back in '77. This is before any of that, but the basketball team had a major accident. And University of Evansville, their basketball team had a major accident, so and it pretty much killed off their whole team. So, man, it's unfortunate, but things like this still do happen. It just it just helps us remind each other that every day, any day can be your last. So enjoy every day as if it was your last. So.
Amen. What about you, Pinsman? Which one do you remember the most when you growing up? There's been a lot, unfortunately, but which ones do you remember the most, or do you remember the most?
I don't remember any teams, but I remember Roy Halladay that he crashed into a building and died, and the Hudson River. Remember the Kobe Bryant one, but the Halladay one if you guys don't know and you live under a rock, Roy Halladay was a good pitcher, even though he pitched for the wrong teams. But yeah. So that's the ones I remember, not as a team, but players as well. So that's why I remember.
What about you, Ralph? Which one do you remember the most?
Well, there was one that just happened recently, Iowa College. There was a bus crash and one's killed. So, but I can't offhand remember anything other than the Oklahoma State thing. That's about the only one that I remember off the top of my head right now. So,
that was such a, all these in general, when they're
all tragic.
It's tragic.
Well, Ben took mine. I was going to say Marshall, but Ben took Marshall. So
this is from Brian Pettit, Zambia national soccer team in 1993. Airplane crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, killed 18 players and 5 officials. There's been so many. So our thoughts and prayers, like as you guys did hear Shane say, our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody affected by this.
How about the soccer team that got stuck in the Andes Mountains back in the movie Alive? Remember that?
Yes.
That rugby team? Yeah.
God.
That was bad. They lost a lot of lives there. They spent 73 days stranded in the Andes Mountains till they finally got rescued.
That's scary.
So,
that's sad too.
Yeah.
But as you guys just heard, our thoughts and prayers go out. But life is very fragile. You can blink and you're unfortunately not here. So I'm a walking testament, like everybody knows by now. If you haven't, I had a widowmaker. I was on the verge of death. I was only given a 12% survival rate, and I'm here. So everything happens for a reason. Let's go to the next topic. The University of West Florida. I'm really excited about this. And by the way, I want to give the person who has argued with me on Twitter about this, I'm giving you a shout out right now. But the University of West Florida broke ground on a $50 million football/mixed sport facility last Thursday. it will be an estimated between 7,500 and 9,500 seating capacity facility. However, West Florida has already said they will be reaching out to a Division I level conference to join, and they've already said that they will make the necessary improvements to house a Division I football program. So what is the program? What is the conference that they have reached out to? Well, I'm so glad you asked, hypothetical listener. The conferences they've reached out to are the Sun Belt, the All-American Conference, and Conference USA. Matt, who do you think will be the first one that will take them up on that offer? If you had to guess, you got to mute your mic, sir. Well, you guys, y'all mute your mics.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here. First of all, no, we got to mute our mics, man. You don't want to hear our heavy breathing. No, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna say the Sun Belt because they will be willing to take anybody.
They really will. Sun Belt will. They absolutely will.
And give them what they want. Actually,
what do you think, Shane? Who do you think is the first conference that's going to jump at the gun and say, "Hey, we're going to get West Florida, like of all places"?
I'm going to say Sun Belt or Conference USA, but I believe what is it? 27,500 is the minimum seating requirements or something like that.
Yep, it is a 27,500 requirement.
They're going to have to triple the size of that stadium as far as seating capacity goes before they can even think about joining as a football conference. And that will depend on where they go. If they go bigger, say 40,000, I could see the American, seriously considering the bid.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, the AAC. Yep.
What do you think, Ben? Who do you think is the first to jump? Is it the AAC, Conference USA, or a Sun Belt?
I actually think it's going to be the AAC, or I think it's going to be the AAC because you look at FAU, who's already, they already are in the AAC. I could see Conference USA as well because FIU's in there as well. So again, for those that don't know, FIU and FAU, Florida Atlantic and Florida International, are both in what state? Florida. So you keep them in state regionally, it makes sense geographically.
Oh yeah, we're going to see something really cool transpire. What do you think, Pinsman? Who do you think is the first to jump?
I think what Shane said, the Mountain West, I think that'd be good. And what Ben said, what he said, geography, that was just perfect, dead on. It just makes sense to keep them close to where they're at, so that way they don't have to move. So that's my take on that.
And it will be, it's not the Mountain West, it'll either be the Sun Belt, Conference USA, or the AAC will take them.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Ralph? Who do you think takes the jump?
Probably would be the AAC, or it could be Conference USA. Conference USA lost a lot of teams over the years.
Really have.
And, because they moved on to other conferences, got better deals. I think it's Conference USA. But I agree with Ben on the fact that the AAC could be jumping it too because of the Florida teams being there. Kind of like a copycat thing. We already got 2 Florida teams. Let's take a third. So we'll
absolutely.
See. Yeah.
We're about to see it. You're going to see where it happens. We will stay on top of it. All right. So now we have a really good friend of ours. His name is John. He is from the Pitch Good podcast. He's going to talk to us for about 5 to 8 minutes total of soccer talk. John, man, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm glad to be on, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I'm going to go right into this, John. It's almost here. Can I get an amen? That World Cup is almost here. Let's go.
Absolutely, brother.
Come on. Can we? All right. Let everybody know what has been going on in the soccer world. I know you and I talk regularly, so I want you to let everybody know what's been going on, please.
Well, first, we had several nations choose their home base for World Cup. So we had the Netherlands, we had England, and Argentina all decided that their home base is going to be in Kansas City, which is huge for the city. It's going to be really cool to see how that goes because those are 3 powerhouse teams that have all decided to call Kansas City home for the duration of the World Cup. There's going to be more coming. I believe Atlanta is going to have a couple of teams, I think, trying to line stuff up, but there's nothing, I think, official yet. And then, of course, in March, we have the Intercontinental Playoff. So that's only a month away. In about 3 days, it'll be a month away from deciding our final 8 spots for the World Cup. So there's that. And then we had a crazy game this last week. Leicester City hosted Southampton. Leicester City just had a 6-point deduction for violating PSR rules, which is basically financial fair play, their version of a salary cap kind of thing to prevent bigger teams from overspending or whatever. So they got a 6-point deduction that week. And then 2 days later, they go up 3-0 in 30 minutes and then lose 4-3 on a final kick of the game. And that sent them, basically, after this last weekend's results, into the relegation zone. Now, Leicester City was a Premier League team that won the Premier League just 10 years ago. Now they're going to be potentially relegated into the 3rd tier of English football if things stay this way.
That's embarrassing, though. Think about that. By the way, you're well out there, John. But, that's embarrassing. You go up and you lose. Like, talk about heartbreak city on that one. That can be seriously deflating on anybody's level, let alone just one team. What is the I ask you this regularly. Do you know any updates about the professional women's soccer team in Atlanta? Do you have any inclinations as to what this name could be for this team?
Well, right now there's rumors. There's nothing official, Brandon. Right now the rumors are because Arthur Blank likes to have symmetry and similarity in his things, that they're probably going to have black and red somewhere, but right now the colors that have been unveiled so far are white and red with gold. So it's kind of similar to the men's United team that Arthur Blank, of course, owns. And the rumor is that they're probably going to name it Atlanta United.
Oh, my goodness. That would be, icing on the cake if they did that. That would actually kind of be just typical on that. But, oh, my goodness. So, John, what else? And what is, I know you kind of alluded to a little bit, what is the next steps for World Cup? I mean, let everybody know officially when it gets going. And, if you can, let everybody know who are the host cities.
So, the next step for the World Cup is the Intercontinental Playoff. Now, basically, these are the teams that did not automatically qualify in their groups. Europe gets, I believe, 6 teams that can qualify. Four teams that can qualify, potentially. So there's going to be about a total of... There's going to be a few teams that will qualify, but, Europe has their own playoff, and then you got intercontinental teams that are going to try to get in as well. Such as, for example... In Europe, you're going to have the likes of Denmark and Ireland compete in this playoff for the European places. And then in the Intercontinental Playoff, you're going to have teams like New Zealand and such. Well, not New Zealand. Bolivia, for example. Bolivia is going to be competing for a spot in the World Cup. So Bolivia's one to watch, by the way. They have not made a World Cup in a very long time. So I would keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's all coming down March 19th when that starts. So we'll get our final teams in for the World Cup. And then this all kicks off on June 11th. We are going to have cities all across the country hosting this, Brandon. We're going to have Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles. We're going to have cities in Canada and Mexico. This is going to be an all-continental affair. So the final is going to be in Miami or New York, one of the two. So.
Wow. It literally is from sea to shining sea. Sorry, I didn't mean to be corny on that one. Oh, man. All right, John, let everybody know where they can find you. And when is your next episode? Because I want to hear your next episode, brother.
Absolutely. You can find me pretty much anywhere on social media. You'll probably find me Pittsburgh Pod or Pittsburgh Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You're on TikTok, YouTube, of course, Spotify, and Apple's where you can find our audio version of the podcast. And our next episode's hopefully going to be the next couple of days. We're going to record, talk about stuff in the NFL as well as all the soccer stuff. And we have some exciting things coming up on the show. So stay tuned for that as well.
Absolutely, man. Well, John, I appreciate you as always. And we'll talk soon. Sound good, my friend?
Sounds good.
All right,
Yeah,
buddy.
y'all.
Oh, man. Let's get it going to the next topic, guys. That was really cool to have John. I love having him on. He's a good buddy of mine. All right, Shane, tell everybody your sports story, man. I want to hear the sports story from Shane Owen.
Oh yeah, well, for my sports story, we're going to talk about ABS, and we're not talking about cars here. So,
Oh man, I was hoping so.
The MLB,
I was looking forward to automatic brakes.
But yeah, so the MLB has finalized the last rules for the first year of the automated ball strike challenge system, which is what ABS stands for. So they announced this, I think it was last Thursday in the Cactus League Media Days, their first spring training, which is in full swing now. So definitely really excited about that. Got our first games coming up here in the next couple of weeks. But just some of the highlights that I wanted to go through on this, if a position player is pitching, a pitch cannot be challenged. So, late in the games when
you mean like at the third baseman, like say the third baseman's pitching? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
If the third baseman comes in and pitches, the pitch cannot be challenged no matter how bad the call. So that's one thing. Frederick. Yeah.
Angel Hernandez again.
Another thing is the MLB is going to individually measure each player's height, and they will come up with their own strike zone that's going to be a little bit tighter than umpire strike zones normally are. So that will be the ball strike kind of system for each individual player that MLB will have on tap.
What? Wait, they have individuals?
Oh boy.
Yeah,
that's gonna be a
strike
mess.
zone for each player, but it's all computer generated stuff like that from the height.
Oh,
that's gonna be a mess.
I smell disaster already.
Yes, they want to talk about speeding the time up, though. Shane, how is this going to speed the time up if you're having to individualize each person?
Well, see, they're going to do it from a straight computer standpoint at the beginning of the year. They're going to get all their measurements from wherever they're going to measure. I would say, like I've always been taught, right there, the bottom of the chest to the top of the kneecap. Would be where they measure, and so but they'll have all that information already, and the time frame, it's not like you can challenge every pitch in every inning. You can only get 2 challenges per game, per 9-inning game, but you go into extra innings, each team will get 1 extra challenge each extra inning, and they cannot add up. So if you have 1, you don't use it, you're not going to have 2 in the next extra inning if it goes there. And then, umps are going to have kind of the discretion on the base pass. Say somebody steals on a call that's challenged, as long as, the players didn't really give up. So it's kind of going to be null and void to send the runner back if there's a ball call or a strike call or something, and the player kind of gives up, like the catcher doesn't throw down in his natural motion. They'll send the runner back, but other than that, it lays it out pretty simple to kind of get some more scrutiny on these umpires, like we've seen in the past couple of years, with success rates and everything else like that are always highlighted. And as Penman mentioned, we shouldn't have as many Angel Hernandez out there calling the games. It's going to bring some accountability on the umpire side to make sure that they're making the right calls and not going with their gut and their feelings on how some of these pitchers treat them and things like that. So it's a new system, so there's going to be quirks, but I think in the end it's going to work out great for the MLB. By at least giving some accountability to those umpires, and so maybe we'll see better gameplay from here on out instead of just a home run derby.
Amen to that one. I still think it's going to be weird, but we'll see. All right, now it comes to our segment. It's called the Yes, it is called the honorable mentions. Now, we would normally give you guys like 1 to 3 stories, but because we're so pressed on time, we're going to give quick ones. I want to give a quick shout out to Chloe Kim. While she did come up just short of winning her 3rd straight gold medal in snowboarding, she still won silver, and it's a huge accomplishment. So shout out to Chloe Kim. All right, Shane, what's your first honorable mention, sir?
My first honorable mention is going to be a big, huge, special shout out to my now 6-year-old nephew, Trip Man. Just turned 6 today. Had a great birthday party down there this Saturday. So I definitely want to shout him out, wish him happy birthday, and man, he had a good time. So he should be a little bit tired from the weekend, but I think he was up getting it today from all the excitement of actually turning 6. So happy birthday, big guy.
Love it. Matt is busy taking care of something with his daughter. She unfortunately dropped something on the floor, so they're cleaning it up. So we're gonna go to Ben because he's our newest member, and we'll get to him in just a minute with his another introductory. But Ben, give us your first honorable mention, sir.
I think I'm going to give a big shout out to all the athletes that competed in the NBA All-Star game this past weekend. It was, in my opinion, the best All-Star game that we've seen in, probably years. Let's just be honest, the level of competition has not been great.
Oh, come on, Ben. You look forward to seeing that 355 point to 357 point game, right?
No, not at all. But between Team USA and between Team World, man, it was awesome. It was awesome to just see them duke it out, and it was the most competitive All-Star game that I've seen in a long time. And of course, big shout out to Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, for winning the MVP of that game. And man, I'm a big Ant-Man fan for real.
Love it. All right, Benjamin, give us your first honorable mention, sir.
I need your help on this one, but my first and only one is to Gino from UConn. He is tied.
Gino
That's
Auriemma.
it. No, the other one, the other name, not Gino. I'm talking about the other one. He tied somebody for the UConn for being ranked 619 weeks, but I forget what his name is. If I heard it, I know what it is. I just can't picture what it is. But UConn is officially 619 weeks now of being consecutive of being the number 1 in the women's basketball now. So I want to give a shout out to him, and that's my first honorable and my last.
All right. My next honorable mention, shout out to the state of Hawaii and the school, by the way. This is what's really cool. We're always talking about NIL and whatnot. Well, they just approved funding for a massive NIL money contract. It could actually change the game for a mid-major like Hawaii is. One donor has already committed to donating more than $15 million alone for NIL a season. There is another donor. You guys may have heard of this guy. His name is Mark Zuckerberg. Just in case you guys didn't know who the founder of Facebook is. He has already committed $38 million to NIL funds for the University of Hawaii. As you guys know, he also has a house on Oahu as well on the Big Island. So shout out to Zuckerberg. We might see this basically lines up the right way that Hawaii could be competing with everybody finally the right way. So really excited for them. The future is definitely bright for the University of Hawaii, for the Mountain West Conference in general, because the new TV rights deal is unprecedented and amazing. I love it. So really excited about that one. All right, Shane, give us your next honorable mention, sir.
My next honorable mention is going to go out to Trinidad Chambliss. Was just granted a 6-year of eligibility by the judge down there in Circuit Court. Ruled Thursday that the NCAA did not act in good faith, and that Trinidad actually should deserve a medical red shirt. So shout out to him for getting that 6-year. Definitely boosts Ole Miss's potential here coming into next season. And also want to shout out to Montana linebacker Solomon Tuilapupu.
Say that again.
For Solomon Tuilapupu. I'm probably
I'll give you A for effort. I really will.
Probably butchering it, but he's getting a 9th year of eligibility from the NCAA to play again. Had a bunch of different medical issues in his first like 4 years. He was at USC, played a year at USC after missing 2 due to the injury, and then missed 2 more due to the injury, and then finally played I think his first full season last year, if not the year before. But he's playing with Montana. Was granted that 9th year to come back to Montana and play again. I do believe that's where he's going to end up.
Nice. All right, Ben, give us your next honorable mention, sir.
I got Myers Taylor for winning her gold medal today in bobsled. It's her 6th medal overall.
So she did win it? She did win it?
Yeah, she did.
I was thinking, I was like, oh, please. We were leaving and it came on and I was so mad, but I'm so happy she won.
Did. It's really astonishing. I mean, the fact, even winning 1 medal is amazing. She's won 6. She's won 6. Yeah. You know, I wrote it down. Let's see, we got 1 gold, 3 silvers, and 2 bronze. I mean, that's unreal, man. I mean, if you went, I mean, I feel like, what else does she have to do? What else does she have to accomplish? She should just retire after this. What does she got to do?
Exactly. I mean, I was hoping she was going to win. I was like, please let her win, and then we had to leave. I'm like, dadgummit. So, all right, here's my final honorable mention. The Philadelphia Phillies have released Nick Castellanos. This is a big deal for the Phillies, as they did invest a lot of money up front into taking him. There were so many people who said they should have gotten rid of him the moment they signed him. I don't know, but I'm so glad to see Philadelphia doing what they do best, which is stinking the joint up. So shout out to the Philadelphia Phillies for getting rid of a heartbreaker. Not really. All right, Shane, give us your final honorable mention, please, sir.
He ended up going to the Padres.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Go Dads.
I know.
Yep. My last honorable mention, I'm going to shout out to Megan Grant. She's a UCLA softball player. She hit a record 25 home runs last year. Has always had a love for basketball, and she was joking around with a basketball player towards the end of last year about playing basketball, and it turned out to be, come to fruition, as you would say. They talked about it, and here it is. The basketball coach needed a player to fill in for the practice squad, and she's worked her way up and done everything right, I guess you would say, and is playing basketball and is going to play that the remainder of the season, then go to softball. So she said that she's going to be 100% committed, but shout out to her for being a dual sport athlete in the Division I major college program in both those sports.
Yes, that's actually pretty admirable. Real quick, I want to give a special shout out to the University of Oklahoma for molly-whopping the absolute stew out of University of Texas El Paso in softball, 134-0. That's a real score. I promise you it is. They absolutely dropped the hammer on them. So shout out to. At this point, I literally told my wife, I said, when you're down by 20, what is the point of you just continue to say, you know what? I quit. I mean, God, dog, you're down by 34.
Wasn't that only in 5 innings too?
Yeah, in softball they have it's a 7 inning, but they do the run rule after 5. If you're down more than 10 and you don't come back to be within 3, you're not going to score 31 runs in a single inning of all places. But yeah, it was pretty abysmal. All right, look, we have a really good a new member of our show. This gentleman, yes, as you guys see, he is right there, Ben Willis. I want everybody, please give a round of applause to our guy, Ben. Ben, man, I'm so honored to have you a part of this team. And can you let everybody know what days you most likely will fill in for the show? Because I know you said that you had certain days.
Yeah, so I will most likely be filling in on pretty much every Monday. I mean, there may be some Mondays I won't, but most Mondays and Fridays I should be on here. So barring vacations or stuff like that. So
Nice.
I'm excited to be a part of the show, and it's an honor, man. I remember the shows I did have been a big blast, so I'm excited to be a part of the crew a little bit more permanently.
Yeah, we're definitely honored to have you on here, and we can't thank you enough for being a part of, in our eyes, the greatest sports talk show that's ever walked the face of this planet. Just saying on that one. Guys, we have absolutely had an amazing episode. I want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in. I want to give a shout out to Nick for coming on and talking to us about what it's like to be a public address announcer for Seattle University. I'm sorry we didn't get to have all of our questions, but we are allotted on time. We have to maintain our timing on that one. But I also want to give a shout out to our good friend John from the Pitch Good podcast for stopping in and telling us more about World Cup, because it's knocking on the door. We're almost here. You guys, I do have some news to share with everybody. We have a few more episodes left of season 5. Yes. Real quick, Wednesday, we have our good friend Marcus McCallum. Woo! I always get excited when he comes on. He comes on every Wednesday. We will be doing another baseball talk as well. We will be covering the NL Central. Really excited on that one. Then Friday, February the 20th, is episode 198. Monday, the 23rd, episode 199. And then the big one is here. Episode 200. It is on Wednesday, February the 20th. We have Tony Gladstone of Wire to Wire Network, Sports Network. He is going to join us to talk to us about the World Baseball Classic, Major League Baseball spring training updates, what's going on with the new women's professional baseball, and a whole lot more. And it will be a special episode because it is 200, so it will be a full 2 hours long. Then we have an episode on Friday the 27th. Our good friend Peter Blake of the Sports Web is back to talk about the NFL draft. Can't wait. And then I want to let everybody know season 5 finale will be on March the 6th. Is episode 204. Then we will return after a week to have season 6. So with that being said, for everybody who tuned in, we thank you so much. Shane, give your quick goodbyes, please, sir.
Oh yeah, well, as always, it started a week. Hope everybody has a great week. Appreciate everybody out there listening and watching us. May the good Lord bless you. Peace, love, and bacon grease.
Peace, love, and bacon grease, indeed. All right, Pensman, give your final goodbye real quick, sir.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. A great show, but I'll see you Wednesday.
Amen. Penn, give your final goodbye, sir.
So again, thank you everybody for just tuning in and listening to us talk. And it's been a blessing to be back, man. And God bless all y'all, and y'all have a good evening.
Absolutely. And as I always tell you guys, peace up, A-Town down. Why it's the greatest sports day that ever was. You have a fantastic evening. We will see you on Wednesday. Until then, enjoy this outro. And go, Lady Eagles. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for an amazing season. And we'll talk to you soon. Good night.